All right, ready? All right, well, good evening. I'd like to call to order the regularly scheduled meeting of the Town of Haymarket Planning Commission for Monday, September 16th, 2019. Roll call, please. Here.
Terrell, Otto,
Here.
Larry.
Here. All right, if we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and following the pledge, if you would remain standing for a moment of silence and remember the hurricane victims, especially in the Bahamas, a lot of devastation there and people really suffering. So let's pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, a moment of silence, please. All right, thank you. You may be seated. All right, first order of business, if we could look at the minutes. And
The minutes will be handed out at the next meeting.
okay,
We've had a month delay. I do apologize.
that's okay. All right, so we will move on to citizens' time. If any citizen would like to address the planning commission, we'd love to hear your comments. If you could just please come to the podium, state your name and your address, and we would love to hear from you. All right, seeing none, we will close citizens' time. All right, moving to the agenda items, SUP number 2019-004, Van Meter, Smith Property, 6701 Hunting Path Road, excuse me, 14850/14860 Washington Street. Ma'am?
So Van Meter has worked to address comments that they heard from the Planning Commission as well as the citizens at their public hearing last month. With that, you'll have my updated report and an updated concept plan from them. The plan is on, one second. It's harder when you can't flip through paper. It's on page 8. And so that'll show a new entrance that comes out onto Washington Street. It removes the Hunting Path entrance. One of the major concerns that I had currently is that this then, if you look at our map, this does not line up with St. Paul Drive. Rather, it, sits just, I guess that's just a little bit west of it. So this would be very conflicting for morning rush hour with commuters, the daycare there, traffic coming in and out. So they do have a presentation, and I do believe they would like to also discuss some other ideas with you. So if you guys are okay with it, I'll invite them up to go ahead and go through their presentation.
Yes, ma'am, unless there's an objection.
No, no objection.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Denise Harover and Roy Barnett with Van Meter. Thanks for having us back. We had taken a look at some of the concerns that were raised at our last meeting here and wanted to address those. And actually, while the boss was out here driving around this evening, we have since made a change.
Okay.
So I, through the wonder of technology, have been able to actually update this. You guys are familiar with where the project is.
Yes, ma'am.
This was the original layout.
Julie, can you dim these lights? Would that be all right with y'all?
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
fine.
so I can see that a little
Now,
bit.
when you
Thank
say
you.
the original layout, the one you originally submitted to us,
This was
correct?
the original layout that we discussed with you
Last time,
month.
okay.
So most of the concerns that we heard were regarding the amount of traffic that would go through Hunting Path Road with the potential of going north through
Right.
the Longwood Commons private roads. So we went back to the drawing board to take our traffic off Hunting Path. And originally, what you have in your packet for tonight actually shows this particular layout, which would bring traffic all the way over here off of 55. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing.
No, the mouse. Yeah.
But if I may, I'm Roy Barnett. This design here was designed, I think it was one of the commissioners who said, why don't you just turn the project so that it accesses towards Washington Street, which is what we tried to do. But in doing this particular plan, the land planner, when he did the plan, didn't have the advantage of having the south side of Washington Street. So you have St. Paul right here. You have this parking lot emptying out that's not aligned as well. So with this entrance, it became I noticed, I agree that that's going to be a very dangerous situation at this point with movements. Right now, you even have this offset, which causes some issues, but luckily it's an off-peak use, I believe, in this building. So what we looked at, if you can go back to the previous slide, it shows the original, Denise. I just want to point back one more. No, the plan we had last one. So if you look at this plan, you have a turn lane for Hunting Path that starts at the west end of the property and comes into Hunting Path. When Washington Street was improved, they put in a standard commercial entrance right at the mid-block here, but it has no turn lane. And on top of that, they have two driveway aprons at the east end of the site, again with no turn lanes. So when I looked at this, and I sat here at this intersection for probably about 10 minutes tonight watching traffic movements going back and forth. And so what I think to provide, to separate the turning traffic from the through traffic and not interrupt the through traffic, to me the most common sense thing we do and what we do in a lot of cases would be is extend this turn lane across the frontage of the property, putting the taper at the east end of the property, extend the turn lane so that the turn lane now has capacity, stacking capacity for people wanting to make a right turn. So if we can go to the sketch, and I apologize for the sketch, I did it basically on the hood of my car as I was sitting out here. But that's the way we've done I've done, when you get a certain age, you used to do things on the hood of your car. So we have the turn lane, bringing the turn lane down, and then we could bring in the entrance on the west end of the site, come into the site. We could make sure we have traffic movements and turning radiuses to meet for all the fire trucks and trash and everything else. It would keep the same number of units in there. I think there's 37 on the drawing. But it also then makes the front use more rectangular. And Mr. Chair, I couldn't answer you last month, but I do have, this is a early learning school. I don't want to call it, it's not a child care, so I actually had a conversation earlier with the mayor just before we started, that the lady who does this, it takes pride in that it's not a babysitting service. It is a early learning school where the children are taught multiple languages, math, science, technology, so that it is more of a early learning school than it is a child care. And so, and she will be glad to come in at the next meeting and give you a presentation on what her programs are and how she operates her programs. But what we would then do is just turn her building, flop her building, so that her entrance would be over here off of this drive, which I think actually works better than what was on this side, because now when you come in, if you're going eastbound or westbound, you're in the turn lane, you make a right in, you make a right to go into her parking lot, through her porte-cochere, and then back out, and then it gives you the exit further away from Washington Street, so you have plenty of room for stacking as you come back out.
So that's two-way, it's an entry and an exit?
This would be an entry and exit because one of the things we talked about was the way to avoid the cut-through traffic and which was the concern with Longwood is to take out the entrance off of Hunting Path altogether.
In this entrance over here, what would
This
you?
would go away.
Okay.
That would go
got
away.
it.
I couldn't sketch her building. I was
That's
just trying to
fine.
sketch
That's
through. But basically, we take this front entrance, parking and entrance, and we just flip the building over so that the drop-off areas would be in here, circle back out, and then back down. And I think that gives us a better traffic movement, and always the concern is, in this movement here, was coming out right here at the exit. We're coming up here, by making this one-way through, I can force the people to come out further back off of Washington Street. So I know it's a quick change, but we would like your comments and input, and then we can get this put into a regular drawing and come back at our next meeting if we can.
Well, I'd be concerned about the left turns off of Washington in there. Without a center turn lane in the middle, as you're
Right.
going eastbound, and you're taking a left.
You're
crossing
coming from the
traffic.
west, you're making a left into here, is
Yes.
what you're saying? We have that situation either way. That's very common in a town situation, on the left side, because that way you're, especially in the near-traditional town designs where we don't have turn lanes typically. I mean, this is a situation where I'm extending the turn lane, but there's not enough right-of-way there to do much with a left turn.
One advantage is it's 25 miles per hour.
Yes.
That's one advantage.
Now,
I share the same Nick's concern as well. That being 25 helps out some. I can tell you we've got some roads in Prince William very similar to this where the speed limit's 40 miles an hour. That's dangerous.
Right.
now I think, Emily, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think one of the properties that the wine tasting in VDOT prohibit a left turn, I can't talk right now, left turn opportunity. So why would this be different?
We just met with VDOT about 2-3 weeks ago. They came out here, we actually did a site visit here in town. And so what they've done for the wine tasting room, which will line up right across from that, new entrance, is we have restricted it so you can only take a right-hand turn into the property, and you can only take a right-hand turn out of the property.
Right, so for me, I would say that VDOT would probably need to be contacted early before we went too far down the road, just because it seems like this now seems to be whatever that's what they want to do, move forward with the way that we're operating traffic off of Washington. So to me, that small business having that prohibition, I think I would wonder why it would be different, I guess is my point. And we can't answer that now, but I think that's something we need to
They
investigate.
would have to, our TE, our traffic engineering folks would have to study that, and obviously, Mr. Warren and them are aware they got to go through them. I will just tell you that the last presentation was a definite no for me because of Hunting Path. You've resolved that issue on this. Another issue I had, you brought up what was going on in the front. I had a real concern about that. I knew you weren't going to put in the 7-Eleven or something like that, but although 7-Eleven may do well around here, but not there. So I would be curious, we're going to have another public hearing on this with a new plan?
I would like to.
Yeah, we would need to, because I will tell you that the citizens I talked to, and some that reached out to me, had a couple, they had the concern on Hunting Path. That's been addressed. The other concern was, again, and I know Matt hates to hear this because he's heard it as long as he's been here, is the amount of traffic with that many homes, townhouses in there and everything. And I share that concern as well, but I'm also agree with the chairman that we're going to have traffic no matter what we do. So I would be curious to hear from, another public hearing, to hear what citizens, and hopefully they will come and speak. You've certainly addressed a couple of my concerns. I would be very curious to hear what the public has to say. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll shut up.
You're good.
I did want, you had, or I don't know if it was you, Mr. Commissioner, or the chair, you also had an issue about the amenities for the townhouse community,
Right.
and so we did add a large amenity area right in here.
Yeah, I was looking at that. Yeah.
I still feel this is it's a larger thing for us, I think, because this is one example where it works right here, but we're looking for the whole town, and the town was specifically zoned, and I think 5 years ago, we discussed that it was zoned the way it was, and it seems like now we're always making an exception. The exception is actually becoming the rule now, where all of these properties that are B1 are, they're trying to do at least half of it, with SUP, and so is that something that we want to do as a town? I think I brought that up last time, so I think we need to think about that if we're going to want to accept this, because B1 has a very specific purpose of bringing in traffic, and even Emily brings it up in her assessment. So my concern is that as we continue to make half of our business really residential, is that the right balance for the town, or is it not? Because we're supposed to be encouraging more businesses for the existing residents to walk to these locations. So, I mean, I do like the changes. You definitely have been working with us and the town, but I think, in my opinion, we'd have to look at, is this something we want to do in a whole?
That's why I want to hear the public, too. I want to get their input. I think that's important.
I mean, I definitely like the changes you've addressed, keeping it off Hunting Path, which is really good. I like the fact you have the tot lot for the kids. Again, I think about what by right can go in there versus what you're proposing to put in there. And I keep coming back to the same thing. It's what's currently on the books and what could go there as opposed to what you're proposing. And I would much rather, again, I'm speaking for me, not for the commission. I'd rather see 37 townhomes going there than some of the by right things. The left turn, I don't really know, regardless of whatever would go in that piece of property. I mean, to make a right in, right out, I don't think is feasible regardless. I mean, every other subdivision along that street has a left or right turnout. Our subdivision does, Green Hill does, Haymarket Station does. So to single this one out, in the traffic count, you've already done a traffic count for, what was the estimated daily traffic count? I don't recall.
I don't have that off the top of my head, but the one thing we do that the traffic, in the traffic study didn't account for the gaps would be, we're getting ready to put the circle in at Piedmont, which is also going to help that traffic situation on Washington Street on a speed control.
Now, that is a stacking lane only, correct? Yes, sir, there,
This is
It-
a right turn lane.
right turn lane
Just
only.
like you have up here today, it's a right turn only. You have a right turn right here at Hunting Path today.
Right.
So that would just be extended across the frontage, right to about right here somewhere, and then to taper back up right here, to give us that long stacking.
Yeah, see, my concern, Hunting Path, if you're taking the left there, in that long,
Right. Hunting-
Stacking
there's a
lane there.
today on Hunting Path.
understand, and this just be a lot longer. If yours is connecting with that,
Well, my thought was there's two ways to handle it. We've seen VDOT do it both ways. One is to keep it continuous, because truly the reason for adding the stacking lane is to account for our right turns. And there'd be no reason for anybody to go past that. That's traffic that we're impacting or generating. But this stacking here was more for the right turns on Hunting Path. So we have seen where you've done the bump out so the stack lane gets broken into.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. My concern is with that many residents in there and in the business,
Right.
people coming west there, make that right turn. If I'm at El Vaquero and I'm going to come in, I do go there, so go out, and when I make a left there to head toward Gainesville, if that stacking lane is out, I have no idea whether they're turning on
Right.
the Hunting Path or whether they're turning into,
So we could put the bump out like we've done on some of the
yeah.
projects.
I would, VDOT will make that call.
Yes.
They'll make that recommendation. I know if I speak to Yao or any of them that may be looking at this, that's what I would recommend.
Right. And
You
we've
see,
done that.
Mr. Chairman and Nick, you understand what I'm
Right,
saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. It makes
I mean,
perfect
if
sense.
everyone used, even if they have their right turn signal on,
You don't know
is
where
it,
they're turning.
which turn are they going to make? So that's why I would want the bump out.
Yeah. And we've done that on several projects.
Yes, sir. Okay.
I think, we can go back around, John's, I think getting this put in proper form, resubmitting it to Emily, her getting it to us, doing another public hearing, and let the citizens come in and speak, I think is the right course of action. And we'll just kind of go, Mr. Shannon, right on over. You agree with that,
Yes, sir. I do.
sir?
Yeah,
We do. I
would,
I state again that the two big concerns I had are addressed, but I know the citizens had other concerns, so.
I would be willing to do maybe another course of action where you're maybe doing half of the homes and adding more commercial as other options instead of kind of all or none. I just might suggest that if that's something you're willing to do, that you would do that. If not, then don't bring in another option. But I think for me, my stance is still going to continue with, I think it's too much residential for the purpose of the zoning. And as a town, if we feel like the zoning, I feel like I've heard a few times that we're worried about what could go in there, but that's what the town agreed to in the zoning. So if we need to change the zoning and what the by right is, then we should do that again. I know it was a difficult process before, but I don't want us to have to be in fear of our own zoning. I'd rather have this because what could you do by right, something that concerns me. But that's the only other comment I had. So we'll look forward to seeing the next iteration.
I do think, though, it melds with what's currently around it. And if I were in Hunting Path back in there in that subdivision, I'd rather be bumped up next to townhomes than I would a business if I was a property owner. But again, I'll just let the citizens come in, so.
Well, I go back, I played back, and of course, I have the zoning, and played back what you said, when you think about, like you said, some of the by right businesses that could go in there, but some of that's kind of scary. Anyway, I agree with the plan, is that go back, update this with clean charts, come back in, have another public hearing, and move forward with that.
Okay, sounds like a good course of action.
Real quick, can we look at our calendars and just make sure that if everything was turned in, that we'd all be good for the October meeting? Just so we can make sure we
What day
do our
is
part to
that?
provide.
Either what, 7th?
One moment.
Yeah, it's a 7,
No, third Monday,
no, third Monday.
the 21st.
Works for me. Does
I
that work
will
for you?
not be here. I'm not here.
Looking out at my boss, yeah, we're here, I don't see anything on my calendar. I have planning commission down for that night already.
Okay. I'll reach out to Ayush since he's not here tonight, check his.
Wait, no, I'm wrong. I will be here.
You will be.
21st?
21st of
Yes.
October.
Let's
Yes,
do it. All right,
sorry.
let's do it then.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you much.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am,
I
thank you.
appreciate what you all did on that. Thank you. And that gives you enough time, obviously, to advertise it. That's plenty of
Yes.
time.
Okay, so
McDonald's second drive-through discussion.
our next agenda item is the McDonald's second drive-through discussion. So I will just kind of give you guys a brief reminder. This is an application that we heard, I guess, fall, probably a year ago or springtime. It made it to council. It was approved, but what was approved was the closing of the first entrance, and they would use the second entrance, and then the parking would be rearranged just a little bit to allow for the second drive-through, and then all the spaces would still be accommodated within the property due to the closing of the first entrance. With that, it was also brought to the town council's attention that there is an agreement in place with the property owners and the town that if traffic were to become an issue on Route 55, that they could ask for the property owners to close the first entrance. This was something that was mentioned to the town council. The town council mentioned it to the applicant, and they were very much in favor of the first entrance being closed and primarily using the second entrance, and then the back exit way into the Lee Berry Shopping Center. So I'm going to have the engineer, Jonathan Ritchie, come up and kind of discuss their new plan of what they would like to request this evening. And then I wanted to hear comment back from the Planning Commission if this is something we want to move forward with and hear more, or if you want to hear more about the agreement and have a copy of it, I will certainly provide that at our next meeting, and we can have them come back for an official public hearing.
I know we'll hear from the gentleman just a minute. Was there any changes from what came to the council before?
Yes, so now the change is that they want to leave the first entrance open, have the second drive-through as well. However, they will lose some parking spaces with that. So if you look on
I'm
page
at the drawing
14 is
now.
a pretty good idea with some cars shown in the picture as well. That gives you a good concept of what it would look like. And the screens are touch screen, if that helps you zoom in and
Yeah,
out
it
on it
does.
and
I-
scroll faster. But take your time. And he also has a mock-up drawing if you want me to bring it up as well, so it's larger.
I was looking at the wrong, okay. All right, I can see here. Okay, yeah, I'll have a couple questions.
And this has been brought to us, this has probably been, what, a year ago?
Yeah.
It's been a while. All right, well, let's hear his comments, and then we'll see what questions it generates. If you want to come over here. Excuse me.
Would you guys like me to come up there and help out, or do you want to look first?
No,
I think we can follow if you want to just go ahead and
Okay.
talk us
Yeah.
through. It seems pretty straightforward what you're trying to do.
It is. So as Emily mentioned, I'm Jonathan Ritchie with Bowler Engineering. I know I've been up here a few times regarding this site. I've also got Tom Hughes with McDonald's here in case there's any specific questions for the reasoning behind this. But as Emily mentioned, what was approved, actually I think back in May is when it was approved. That might have been actually the site plan, I apologize. It involved closing this first entrance right off Leeberry Way. And also part of that plan, there was a dual drive-through and then a stacking lane that added probably about 10 cars to the stacking capacity of the drive-through. The idea was obviously to provide more stacking, prevent backups on the site. What subsequently has happened is, as everyone knows in this industry, is access is everything. So McDonald's has taken a second look at it and asked if effectively they could keep the entrance open right off the first entrance off Leeberry Way. And by doing that, they would add a second drive-through lane to help with stacking. So effectively, as the site exists today, per the code, there's about 4 stacking spaces. This would add conservatively 20, probably even more, for the stacking to prevent, or let me say, aid in the circulation around the site. So it's a little bit of a mix between the original one that's been through several iterations, but the main idea is here is this one keeps the entrance open, but adds a second stacking lane that can hold about 10 cars.
I noticed the lane, one's 10 feet wide, one's 12.
Correct. Yep, and that's standard.
12
The
is
proto.
standard, right?
Like technically 17 feet is required for a one-lane road, but for a drive-through, that's acceptable.
Okay.
Yep, and then the 10 is also acceptable as well.
And then how many parking spaces that currently are right up against the building would you lose?
So there's about 6 or 7. There's 7 right up against the road. I'm sorry, up against the building. That would be taken by the new stacking lane.
The one entrance, the first entrance that you were going to close, that would still be a ride-out only. Is that correct?
Yes, it would be right in, right out.
Most people don't pay attention to that. Chief, where'd you go? There he is
Yeah,
back there.
yes.
But,
The signage would indicate that it would be a right out only, yes, but I suspect that traffic would make lefts.
yeah. Yeah,
So
because they
right
have
in
to go
here,
down
right
toward
in
the
here.
food line or whatever. I like this, losing the parking. So you've lost, I think that's more than 7 spots there, isn't it?
It's 7 per the survey, I can double
And that
check.
may be right, to
Yeah.
include 1 or 2 handicap
Correct.
that are there. So you're not adding parking anywhere, though?
There is a spot added up in the, what would be the northwest corner,
Up here.
kind of where the joint access to the remaining shopping center is.
In there.
There is one added.
So, okay, so you still have that exit behind?
Correct. And there's also 2 that are added on the, I guess, south side of the building as well.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
So there is a net loss of 4 spots. We know that that's something, talking with Emily, that we've got to figure out what to do with those. Historically in the town, it's been allowed to, the waiver's been through the SUP process, but it's our understanding that that's not the case anymore. Maybe Emily can elaborate, but that's something that is a little bit up in the air, is we do need to find something to do with the parking.
I don't see
So-
where it adds anything if you're.
Yeah, the
keeping
second
this.
entrance there is an entry-exit, but what does that really do for you to enter?
Because then you're crisscrossing.
Yeah, because when you make that second entrance and you're going back to the right, you're going up toward the main entrance. What does that really give you there?
It gives you direct access to the drive-through. You don't have to drive through this area in the front where there could be high pedestrian traffic.
We're talking, yeah.
Right here.
Okay, this is you come off Washington. That's your
Double
first
stack.
one.
Yep.
Double stack. You have this one going in here and coming this way, right into this traffic. What does that bring you? What does that get you?
So this is all one-way traffic, so you can see the angled parking. So that's how you actually access those parking spots.
Oh, okay, here's the
Yep.
handicap, so they're up here.
Yep.
Okay, so it's really just for these spots.
Yep.
But the people that don't, they're coming up here, then they have to either go right there or they have to go around here.
Yeah, so you could hang a left there, or you could go all the way around. There is full circulation.
Wouldn't it be better to put some type of curb here, something to preclude people from,
Well, they wouldn't be able to they wouldn't be able to get out then,
Yeah.
because this is one way.
These are parking spaces,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's the
angle.
van and the handicap. So these people come, if they want to park there, they can go all the way around, or they can come in here and just park in one of those. I guess that's, because it's not like anyone's coming this way to exit, they have to come this way.
it just seems like a lot
So-
of exit for 3 spots. I know you
Well,
have
there's
5.
Well,
I know
we're
by
short.
code
I
you have to
guess,
have
yeah.
these, obviously.
Yeah, I think that may be the better way than getting people to come in here and drive all the way around, because then they're
Well, they're gonna
also
make a left
interchanging
turn
with
Trying to
these folks.
finagle into here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they can still come out this way too, and then go straight, and then make that left or right.
Any other way to do that is if you angle the spots this way.
Well, and
Because you might have people pulling in and then trying to turn, and then
Right.
like, oh crap.
It's gonna be-
unfortunately, we have that now, but they, where are your, the lanes where, when the food's not ready, you have to drive up and wait? Where are those lanes?
It's right there. Yeah.
That's
Those two, yeah.
those two. So these are the 2 handicap,
Yep.
and you have the 2 wait lanes there.
Yep, with 3 regular spaces.
3, okay.
So for this size McDonald's, is the parking the same for what you plan, or are we already at less parking spots than the normal for this size McDonald's?
I would say that that's on par. Obviously, we don't meet code. We're 4 spots short right now.
Short?
So,
Okay.
yeah. So I've seen, and Tom may be able to hit on that, but I've seen more and less for one that size. So I'd say it's kind of on target.
What's your capacity, or what's your fill rate right now, usually at a high peak time frame? Are you like 90% of capacity, or is parking an issue, really?
I can tell you, it is. It is on the peak times. I mean, I pulled in there on my Harley and had to go all the way around, park in the very back, or even over in the other parking lot. The
So
peak
they are
hours, especially on Saturdays, after soccer games and stuff, there's, I mean, they tell, I've never seen the parking 100% full, but during the peak hours, it's probably 90% full.
Do you think that's driven by behavior? Because now the one lane is so much stacked up that people are like, well, I'm just going to park and go in. So a double lane might help out with, they might say, I'd rather, it looks like it's shorter, I can get quicker, right? It's all about speed.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things we want to do, we wanted, that's why we, at the council, that's why we wanted this one shut, is because the road cars are backing up on 55. And even though it's a turn lane there, a lot of people aren't going to McDonald's, they're going down to Food Lion or wherever. So, this alleviates some of the concern of the council, at least for me, up here, backing them off. I don't have as much problem now that I understand what you're doing here. The only thing they gotta watch for is the people coming through either of these lanes. If they're coming here to wait for their food, then they just have to be careful there. But, it's not like it's a,
And that exists today pretty much.
sure it does.
Yeah.
Sure it does.
But you're getting your food, it looks like, at 13 here. Is that right?
Yes. Yep.
And so you're going to have to come out this way?
Correct.
And this is going to be curb or paint?
That's curb. That's
You're going to
existing.
curb. So you're going to make, what's going to be able to fit around this little, that guy looks pretty tight,
No, that's pretty wide. If that was a standard, I mean, that's probably 15 or 20 feet wide. I can get my scale real quick, but
And that's paint?
That's paint.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
so they can come
Yeah.
over. I thought this was concrete where you're having to
That's
get around
paint,
that.
yeah. So even if you
All
overlap
right,
a little bit, and that's that's what exists today
Okay.
as well. The condition.
Well, it looks like this double stack here is gonna take
Yeah.
all the traffic off Washington.
That's quite a few.
Because you're basically doubling the capacity the way you mine.
That's, so what's the plan now? To bring it back to bring it back to us? I mean, are we making a recommendation tonight?
No,
Whether
we'll
we-
bring it back. We'll have an official public hearing in October to take care of.
Okay,
But if there's any comments or suggestions in the meantime,
I don't see anything else that you could do. I mean, that's
No.
about max utilization of that space. I don't know what else you could do.
I actually like that, because that was, at first I said, no, we need to close that. But with a double stacking lane, I like what I see.
Well, yeah, if you come down, if you close that, now this becomes,
Sits
Yeah.
here. And
Yeah.
then another lane, which is.
and then all these people potentially getting in and out of these.
And you're not only
handicapped,
blocking,
running
but
boatload
we got plenty of people, again, coming out. It's only one lane
Right.
coming down. They want to go to any of the other stores they're stuck in, so I like what I see there. Be curious, hear what the public has to say about it.
Everything to get their burger quicker.
Absolutely,
Sure, they're
absolutely.
gonna be good with it.
Coffee's always hot there, so, but
It's always,
getting a burger quicker.
everybody's in a hurry, more so than the next guy or gal, right?
Yeah. I don't have any more questions, Mr. Chairman. I'm good to go.
Sir, all good? All right, sounds like a plan.
Good.
Thank
good
you.
plan, I think.
Great, thank you all.
Thank you.
Emily, we'll be in touch.
I appreciate your patience. I know for one lane, this has been a long, drawn out, but,
Appreciate your patience.
getting it right is paramount, so, thank you.
Great, thank you.
All right, so they'll be back in October, correct?
That is correct.
All right.
Yes,
So we'll have two,
21st.
so we'll have two
7 p.m.
SUPs currently that night. Right? I'm sorry, public hearing is what I'm at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Our next item is a 1 mile review case. So this is one that we just received on Thursday or Friday of last week. I wanted to bring it to the planning commission and get y'all's input and have you guys take the time to review it and let us know what your comments are. If you feel it's necessary to take it home, digest it a little bit more, and then have a work session or another meeting to formulate official comments, I'm happy to facilitate that. This is a 1 mile review for a project that is proposed. It's a rezoning project proposed for the intersection area of Antioch Road and Route 55. So that's west. If you leave Town Hall, take a right, you go past Walmart. That'll be across from the Del Webb community that is currently under development. This project is proposing, if you look on page 27, you'll see a vicinity map, a little small that you can zoom in there. And then if you look on page 28, you'll see what they're proposing. So it is 2 hotels, 100 plus rooms, give or take, a 76,000 square foot restaurant, and a 3,000 square foot 1-story office building. They're asking the rezoning to go from agricultural to office use, but less than 15% of the square footage will actually be office use, so there's that. But mainly, we're looking at the traffic impact. There's some comments on the cover sheet of other things to look at, how it affects our comprehensive plan, etc. So there's several entrances here to the property that you see will come right off of John Marshall Highway, Route 55, that could cause increased traffic issues along the road and thus trickle down to us. I do have the traffic impact analysis that I will forward to you. It just came in today, so I'll get that over to you guys. But please, any comments you have, anything you want to share, the comments are due to the county October 7th, and I want to take a draft of our comments to town council by October 2nd's meeting so that they can review them during their work session and the town can formulate a response to the county.
This is kind of similar to the John Marshall Commons down at that end where we were pretty much opposed to what they were planning, yet they did it anyway. I mean, they heard us, but they didn't listen.
Correct.
Okay. So we really have so what we're going to do then through the council then is just forward any comments that any of us would have to the county?
So what myself and our new business manager, Chris, will do is we'll take everyone's comments, mine and Chris's as well, and we will formulate a response letter that addresses all of our concerns, the planning commission's, council's concerns, our staff concerns, and we will submit that to the county as the town's comment response.
And are they looking at widening 55?
There is no discussion of it with this plan, no. So all they're looking at is, and you'll see it a little bit more in the traffic impact analysis. They have, currently as it is existing, and then they propose 3 future intersections, one of which will get a light, but that's 2024, I believe, before that happens. And they're expecting build out to happen in roughly 2022.
You know, it's going to be interesting because of the new subdivision going in over there, dealing with that on a 2-lane road.
You'll also have. on
It's
top
gonna
of
be-
that-
It's going to be very interesting.
And you also have the additional commercial use to, when you look at Walmart, to the left of Walmart, you'll have the daycare there, and then there's a proposed addition with another kind of strip mall area. And that will abut right up next to it. And then if you look closely, you don't first see it, but if you look closely at the plan, there's no interparcel connection between the hotel sites. So if you accidentally turn in and go to the first hotel because you think you've arrived at your destination, but really you're in the next one over, you have to go all the way out and back around, kind of creating more trips on that road just because of poor layout.
You know, just thinking outside the box here, you know, we've had the study out here for VRE, and they said it wasn't cost effective. These are the type of things I believe that ultimately will almost make VRE, you know, a much better bet, because, I mean, it's growing. Everything's coming this way. There's not a lot of places in toward Manassas and Centerville and those areas to build. So the city's here. It's going to be building more and more and more. My biggest concern is just quite blank, just hearing this is, again, what traffic's going to be like down here on 2 lanes. And at some point in time, I'm sure somebody's going to end up making it 4 lane. They're just about going to have to. That's a lot of vehicles and everything. But, again, all we can do is make comments because Prince William County is going to do what they want to do.
You know, thinking too about the railroad crossing with no overpass, when that backs up, and you got people going to restaurants, and I guess I would be curious is what is the future plan of the county long-range plan that would substantiate 2 hotels going in there? I find it hard to believe that they're just putting in 2 hotels for the subdivision and going in there. Something has to be planned that's
They
going
know something we don't.
that's going to necessitate 2 hotels. So usually the lodging comes before the lodging's
and they'll
for.
come.
Correct,
And there's a lot of blank land out there.
yeah. And once you start,
Vacant land.
So I would say that, how's it going to impact the railroad crossing?
Yep.
What's it going to do to the schools and people concerned about our little 37 or whatever, or 20 homes here and there? More subdivisions are coming. Those would be my concerns. Sir?
Anything that's new should be bringing money to improve infrastructure, period, in my opinion. So, I mean, the roads and things like that need to be widened, and there's space now to widen it versus building ourselves in and constricting ourselves and then trying to move things later. This one really, I mean, I think 2 hotels, and then I thought we were talking about a hotel that we already had planned for Crossroads, right? So that's really 3 hotels in the area.
Crossroads isn't getting a hotel.
It's not now.
It's going across here.
Oh, it's going here?
It's one going across the street. I believe, am I correct?
Did we talk
You are
about that one?
correct, yes.
Yes.
Was that voted on?
Pardon me?
Was that voted on by the town council? Or was
Yes,
it-
Yeah. It's-
It's a by right use, so
Yeah.
they've submitted a preliminary site plan. Myself and the engineer have reviewed it, and then it'll come up for planning commission review.
Yeah, and then it's
Okay.
going to come back to the council and everything.
Well, regardless, 3 hotels in a 1 mile radius,
Less than a mile, yep.
Well,
tripling, so I mean, I don't,
I will tell you, they're not going to have problems filling them again. I think the chairman hit on something. There's a lot more building that's going to take place. A lot more building. It's going to be taking place. And I don't know what they are other than subdivisions and the big businesses and everything else. This is a sprawling area. They're going to continue to build. And soon, probably in the next 10 years, we're going to be the same type of interchange probably as 234, Business 234 down in Manassas.
Yeah.
I mean, I just remember years ago when I first came here, and of course that was back in '84, but I used to come up here in '78 a lot to visit my former in-laws, and there was nothing out here, nothing in that part of Manassas. It's growing, and it's coming west, and we're not going to stop it.
no, I feel like getting the funds, though, if people want to come and develop, then improving the infrastructure, mainly the roads, right? So making sure that everyone's getting their,
My biggest concern is what the
East.
chairman brought up, is the railroad track.
yeah.
And I know there's a plan there. I don't know where they're at. I don't know if Emily, if you got the latest on that, or whatever, on the plan to build a bridge there.
So the last I heard, the county went in to apply for shared funding. It
Mhm.
was not accepted, so they'll try again, but it's 2024, 2025 before
Yeah.
anything's possible.
And even then, it's a definite maybe.
Well, the thing about roads in town here with the historic district, you can't, I don't think you can ever say you can't, but the likelihood of bulldozing over historic buildings to put in a road. So our situation's a little different. The county has plenty of room out there to
Yeah.
widen the roads, and to put that much traffic on a 2-lane road, even for the people using those hotels and community, they're never going to get to 15. It's going to be a mess. And then when the train does cross and people are trying to get up, that traffic's going to be stacked up through.
Yeah.
It's going to be a mess. I would be curious to, what is on their long-range plan that warrants 2 hotels,
So I will.
if we could find out.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Randy and try to find out. The last time we submitted a rezoning application to the county for their 1-mile review, they stated back to us that our Crossroads Village Center rezoning of the townhome portion conflicted with their office use plan for the area right outside, which is in this area.
Sure. Okay.
So, but I'll reach out and ask, what other projects. The traffic impact analysis, when you guys get it, if you take special note, they say that they've accounted for trips generated by approved and undeveloped projects. I don't feel that they've taken into account all of the approved and undeveloped projects. There's a proposed gas station convenience store for right across from Sheetz that would definitely conflict with, heavy traffic coming down east into town, and then traffic coming out of the gas station, and then how do they get all the way over to take a left and go into 66? So there seems to be some conflicting traffic patterns for sure.
It'd be interesting to know, excuse me, what the school division has for another high school out here. Because they're building the one over there by Gainesville Middle, but, Battlefield's way over capacity.
Okay, so you want us to send you any comments, or did you just
Yes.
write the comments?
I
Or
wrote some down, the ones you mentioned tonight, but if you guys will just look it over.
I'll take a look. If I have others, I'll send, but those are the main ones that just jump out.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
All right, new business, Emily.
New business, so this past Monday on the 9th, we welcomed our new business manager, Chris Kuhn, to town. So he has been here a week. He will be attending probably the October meeting. He said to pass along he was sorry he missed you guys tonight, but he'll meet you in October. But feel free anytime to stop in and meet him. We're happy to provide introductions. If you have any questions or anything, he's always there, so feel free to reach out to him as well. And I already mentioned it, but Haymarket Hotel Venture did submit their preliminary site plan. Katie has provided her first round of comments, and then we are awaiting their response. So when we get that back and we start working through the second submission, we will bring it up to Planning Commission for your review. If there's any interest in a work session meeting, please let me know soon so that we can go ahead and facilitate that. But we have that, and that's all I have for new business right now. Just a reminder, Haymarket Day is October 19th. Kind of new, not new, but. And then for old business, the playground construction will start on Wednesday. So that'll be a week and a half. They'll be out there, rope everything off, put their construction fencing up. So you'll see a crew up there. And then by the end of September, it will be ready for use. And so it'll be ready before Haymarket Day.
So you're saying this Wednesday it starts?
Correct, so 2 days.
Because I've had about 7 questions of when's the playground going in.
Yes, they're supposed to start last week.
One
but I
being my
have a-
wife for the granddaughter. When's that playground? All the boxes. Matt, they're going to steal all the boxes. When's it coming?
Well, unfortunately, those boxes are lights, but those should also be taken care of soon. So, but they're not lights for the park. They're street lights when we had some casualties of street lights.
So it will start this Wednesday.
Start this Wednesday. As
We can
long as
hold you
doesn't-
to it, right?
Yes, as long as it doesn't pour down rain Wednesday, it will start.
And you said, what, 2 weeks to completion?
Correct. And then they'll leave the fencing up for as long as it takes to cure, and then once it's down, it's ready for play.
I'm going to ask a dumb question, but just jog my memory. Because we moved it so far back off the street, there won't be a fence around it, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, we're gonna see how it goes, and then if we think that, after some time, things need to be adjusted, we'll certainly look into it.
Something get done is what's important right now, too.
Yeah.
Good, okay.
So that's everything I have. Since Ayusha's not here, I can give the ARB update. This past month, we had just our typical, we had, I believe, a residential application. But this upcoming month, which is actually Wednesday night, just so everyone's aware, we will have the hotels coming in for their first design discussion. And we have 2 businesses coming in to get signs. So, and they're working on their bylaws and their guidelines right now.
Okay, for the Planning Commission update, I'm sorry, for the Town Council update, we had a good meeting, didn't last real long, which was a good thing. We had a public hearing on the Williams Holdings special permit. That's the I think it's 7 townhouses right in the businesses going next door. They have really come along, and that's going to move forward, I believe. We had, let's see, that was a special use permit for Williams Holdings, 6604 and 6608 Jefferson Street. We had our normal reports. We released bond release to Villages of Haymarket Phase 2, as well as the Haymarket Sheets bond and the Haymarket Baptist Church bond release. We have a draft communication policy that we're just looking at. The other thing, for personal reasons, Council Lady Bon Cavazos resigned for personal reasons. So we have a special meeting this Wednesday night with the council to talk about replacement. for liaison to the ARB from the council, and to talk about the process to appoint someone to the town council to replace Council Lady Cavazos, who will be missed. So she's fine, health-wise, she is fine, but she has her personal reasons, so that's pretty much all we had. Am I missing anything there? I think that was it.
I did have one question, and it just slipped my mind.
You're not old enough for that to happen.
I'm a grandfather, so it can.
Okay, that
slip
can
my mind,
happen
so,
then.
yeah. It's like, let Nick go, and then maybe it'll come back to me if he has any questions.
I do not. Back to you.
Well, thank you for
Did
that.
that help you out?
No. Oh, yes, I know what I was gonna ask. Now that,
See?
yeah, see, keeps me straight.
Quick, get it out before you forget.
Yeah. Now that that front-end establishment, the Early Learning Center, given the fact that we have Haymarket Baptist Preschool right next door, has anybody reached out or going to reach out to them? I mean, yeah, I mean, you've got two competing, same age demographic.
So, it
course.
is a by right use.
Right, I
so
understand that.
There's not much that the town can do. I know that Denise Harover said she was going to reach out to Haymarket Church, Haymarket Baptist Church, and just discuss with them, you know, what their plans were. I don't know if she's gotten in touch with them yet. But aside from that, there's not much else, you know, the town can do to,
No, I understand, but I think
Be nice
as
to
part
reach
of the public hearing, it would be
Right.
nice for the folks who live in the town that use that service, just to,
so I certainly can reach out to them and let them know. But I will have to also kind of let them know the public hearing is just for the townhomes.
no,
So-
I understand that. But even for citizens' time, I just think it would be good faith gesture to say, hey, there's a early learning center coming in right next door. Of course, there's many people here, and the Haymarket is a religious affiliation. Some people may not want to avail themselves of that. I just think it'd be good,
Okay.
Just to reach out.
you know.
I agree.
Is there anything with the semantics of daycare versus early learning center? Because in the by right use, it says daycare, and that there's just a name difference, but making sure there's nothing different than what first, learning center versus daycare is.
So I'll have to look at how they being the applicant officially describe the use, and how they submit it to the town. That, and we'll compare it to our definition.
Okay.
Because Haymarket is a preschool, it's not daycare. They actually teach them as well. All right, well, without belaboring the point, we're at 1 hour and 2 minutes, so if there's no other discussion, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good night.
To the couch.
I couldn't,
Just need to.